Welcome, everyone, to this late-night deep dive explainer for the For the Wise podcast. Pull up a chair, get comfortable. Actually, before we jump in, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, leave a comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps us out. All right, so hanging out with us tonight, as always, is Hakeem the Owl. Look at him over there, already perched comfortably in our cozy little paper-cut environment, totally ready to learn. Tonight, we're tackling something really fascinating. It's a super common dynamic in relationships, but nobody really talks about it. We're calling it the intimacy paradox. It's this quiet, underlying tension that literally shapes the fate of so many couples.
Okay, I have to laugh a little because think about this for a second. You can love someone deeply, right? Absolutely adore them. But you can still watch them treat their social world like an unlocked smartphone just left sitting on a table at a busy cafe. It's wild. See, when your partner leaves that proverbial door wide open, they're usually doing it with the best intentions. They're basically taping a little smiley face on it. They think, hey, I'm being kind, I'm being open-hearted and inclusive. But here is the reality of social physics. Well-meaning openness absolutely does not neutralize risk. Just because you didn't mean to invite chaos in, doesn't mean chaos isn't going to just walk right through that door, grab a snack, and pull up a chair in your living room.
So here's the crucial point, and it's something we really need to untangle. Intimacy has this really odd side effect where we start to confuse a partner's deep emotional closeness with good judgment. And guys, they are not the same thing at all. You've got this beautiful, glowing crimson thread binding the two of you together in love and trust. But that thread, it gets violently tugged the moment real life demands some boundaries. Because love invites openness, sure, but life demands a perimeter. And when those two opposing forces collide, the battleground is usually the partner who just kind of can't filter out the noise of the outside world. It's that harsh realization that, yeah, a partner's generosity becomes your generosity, but unfortunately, their blind spots, those become your shared liabilities.
Which brings us to this highly specific dynamic, the leaky social filter. It's basically the habit of collecting people like shiny stones, which results in weak social discretion and impulsive trust. Now, hold on. It is absolutely crucial that we define this without any moralizing. We are not talking about malice here. Your partner isn't secretly trying to sabotage your peace. It's literally just about permeability. They just have poor boundaries. Look at Hakeem in the background there. He's tilting his little horn-button eyes in wide-eyed worry, and honestly, he is right to be concerned. Because when someone doesn't realize they're acting as a totally unexamined entry point to your private life, they accidentally widen the gates to folks who smell opportunity the exact same way a fox smells a wounded chicken.
Let's zoom out to this next concept and see how this builds, because there's a structural fact here we all just have to accept. Relationships are shared ecosystems. Look at the fragile shared habitat we've got built in the background here with these 3D torn topographical maps and dried botanicals. It perfectly represents the beautiful, delicate ecosystem you build with another person. But here's the catch, right? Vulnerability in a relationship doesn't just bloom from love itself. It blooms from unexamined access to that ecosystem. You aren't just dealing with your partner's choices anymore, you are dealing head-on with the consequences that their choices summon into your shared space. Man, this is where it gets tough. Invasive species. When one person keeps importing these invasive elements, the whole habitat gets incredibly stressed. You end up living with the downstream effects, and you know exactly who I'm talking about here. The manipulative coworker who suddenly knows way too much about your weekend plans. The opportunistic friend who senses a tiny crack in your boundaries and just wedges right in. Or the emotionally hungry stray who starts feeding off your household's energy. Proximity is power. When you grant proximity, whether that's physical, emotional, or informational, to people who haven't earned it, you disrupt the whole ecosystem. Poor Hakeem totally gets it. Look at him nervously pulling his chunky mustard yellow scarf way up over his tiny suede beak right now. It's stressful just thinking about it, honestly.
Which brings us to a reality that honestly has a kind of grim elegance to it. When one partner has loose social filters, the other becomes the unofficial security detail. It is such an exhausting reality. Think about it. An intimate bond is supposed to be a sanctuary, right? A safe place with windows that you deliberately choose to open. But when your partner just flings all the windows wide open to the streets simply because they think the breeze feels nice, you end up having to stand guard against the entire city outside. It is not glamorous. It's a hypervigilance born purely from necessity, and it can leave you feeling incredibly isolated inside your very own relationship.
And let's be super clear about something. We aren't talking about dramatic, cinematic, Hollywood-level danger here. No, we are talking about the quiet, grinding vulnerabilities, the cumulative erosion of your peace. It's the gossip that boomerangs back and hits you right in the face. It's that weird emotional triangulation. It's opportunists sniffing around for leverage, or just people who default to chaos and end up dragging you straight into their own personal weather system. It's the exhaustion of suddenly finding yourself living inside a house with extra doors you never even installed. These small breaches, they add up. Trust stretches thin, and suddenly you're navigating your love life with one eye nervously watching the outside world instead of keeping both eyes on each other.
So how do we shift this paradigm? Well, we have to deeply understand the difference between elitism and stewardship. A lot of people with leaky filters think that having discretion means you're being paranoid or suspicious or snobby and elitist, but actually, scratch that, that's not true at all. Having discretion is just grown-up stewardship. It is the mature understanding that, frankly, not everyone deserves access to the inner rooms of your life. It's about accurately mapping human behavior. Some people are stable, and some are just bored and kick up drama the way wind kicks up dust. Intentions don't shield anyone from consequences, because the universe doesn't hand out gold stars for innocence, you know? The universe just responds to patterns.
But here's the good news. Once a couple openly recognizes this tension together, something really liberating happens. You start building an immune system. You build a shared perimeter. And notice, I definitely didn't say prison walls. This isn't about isolation. It's an immune system that protects the health of the organism. When a relationship has a functioning immune system, its chances of thriving just skyrocket. Just look at Hakeem in the background now. He is finally relaxing, visibly fluffing his herringbone tweed shoulders in comforted resolution. That's what a shared perimeter feels like. It feels like safety. It feels like you can finally take a deep, full breath.
So, what is the actual path forward? If you're sitting up late right now, nodding along to this, here is some friendly advice on how to navigate it. The healthiest move is never, ever about controlling your partner. It's entirely about cultivating clarity. Step 1. Clear-eyed naming of what's actually happening. No blame, just noticing the ecosystem. Step 2. Clear boundaries about access. Who actually gets to be close to the core? And Step 3. Clear responsibility for who brings what energy into your shared space. When both partners develop this clarity, you evolve from just having intimacy to having a deliberately curated environment. And that, my friends, is where real stability grows, even in a very noisy world.
I really want to leave you tonight with this lingering question to chew on. Is your intimacy an accidental vulnerability or a chosen act? Are the doors open by design or just by default? It's a profound distinction that changes literally everything. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and Hakeem tonight for this deep dive explainer. If you enjoyed exploring the hidden mechanics of our everyday lives with us, please go ahead and like, comment, share, and definitely subscribe to the Furtherwise podcast for more late-night deep dives. It genuinely helps us keep these conversations going. Stay wise, take care of your ecosystems, and we'll see you in the next one.